Welcome to this video. In today's video, I'm going to discuss the danger of artificial intelligence, or could this be the AI apocalypse? We're always told that it's going to take over the world, no one will have any jobs, all creative industries will be destroyed, and there will be no use from humans once AI is fully developed. But is that really the case? Or are people that are controlling AI wanting you to believe that? Do you remember that time before the internet, those summer evenings, and you'd go to your local library to get your book and go to your local video store to get your VHS tape to watch your movie? You know, that amazing magical times that we lived in. I can really remember those films and experiences, you know, like I really kind of see that time as a point where we really valued all these industries and what we had as we were developing. And I think it was a really positive time for all that. But those experiences compared to how we live in the world today is so different. And it's like we're undervaluing what we are as humans, undervaluing what our creations are, how the world is valued. So everything is just so immediate now, and you can just tap on your phone and there it is. That's where it is. So there's a good side to that, but also the bad side is which is probably more important, and that is the valuing of what we are as a human. And I think that, like, when we remove these aspects of ourselves, we actually become quite useless. But that time before the internet really made you appreciate them moments, and they was just so much more fulfilling in a way. And as much as the internet is great, it is devalued what we are as a physical human, I believe. So living through the 80s was an amazing time when computer games and the music scene in England was so big. There was amazing underground rave scene and this underground culture that was rising up. And this was just before the internet came out. Yeah, and we were working up to that digital world in the 80s. So it was all like the robotic dancing, all these kind of electronic sounds coming out. It was raising us into the digital world. So we could just see this as quite normal, you know. But for people that have gone through that progression and use that technology, obviously there's a lot of advantages to digital technology, of course, and I use digital technology all the time. But the disadvantages I see is the way we're devaluing all the time human creativity. But coming out from that analog era of the 80s and into the digital world, you really do see a clear comparison. And I think anybody watching this, please put in the comments any information that you have on this and how you've experienced the transition. Because yeah, it's an amazing time, don't get me wrong, but you can also see all the faults and the problems that this is creating and the dysfunctionality that artificial intelligence is creating. But when we bring it up to now and we look at the reality we live in now, we have all these surveillance systems, biometric IDs, all these different ways of using this artificial intelligence. That suggests to me that it's being used in a nefarious way, and these surveillance systems are not really for the benefit of us. You know, they're not really for the benefit of who we are as a human and our own personal growth. They're for someone else's system and somebody else that wants to control that system and make sure wherever their position is stays the same. So we kind of need to see that as an alarm bell. The very fact that we're getting biometric IDs rolled out and really pushed on to humanity, most people don't want these systems, but they're just being rolled out, that we need to question that and look at the whole system around what's going on socially around in countries as well, the way these ridiculous situations are happening and being pushed. And it would suggest to me that this is then in turn giving a reason for this technology to come forward. But that's very concerning for me, seeing that we're using artificial intelligence. Really the first stages that we can see that it's being rolled out is for Face ID, scanning, getting your biometrics, security surveillance, all this kind of stuff. You realise they're there to guard and protect these systems of power. Artificial intelligence came about in the 1950s, and really funny enough, not long after the Creator Treaty, which is just a coincidence, nothing to see here, guys. But yeah, the Creator Treaty was where apparently President Eisenhower met with Rigel and Grace, and there was an exchange of technology. Of course, there's no solid proof of that, but there are a lot of stories and information surrounding it, and you can find all that out. There's plenty of books on it as well, and information you can find out. But having that exchange technology, if that did happen, would suggest that this artificial intelligence was already developed to a certain level anyway before it was given across. So there must have been an understanding to this artificial intelligence. Although the groundwork for the internet started in the 1960s within the military, this has been in development for a number of years. So it suggests to me that you've got this artificial intelligence, there was already some high knowledge aware of this. And besides all the movies like Terminator, Star Trek and Logan's Run and all these films that were created and TV series around all these subjects, you can see that there was an understanding to how this could be used and how this artificial intelligence could be used. And then now, in recent years, we're told that AI is going to take over humanity and dominate every part of our lives. Yes, that's true to an extent, but how is it going to take over humanity unless we allow it to, or believe it will? So you've got all these people telling us at the moment that it's going to take over humanity. Well, actually, that's not true. It won't. But if we're told that enough times, maybe we'll start being convinced. Maybe we'll start feeling like that useless human, that useless being. When we look at a guy called Geoffrey Hinton, who actually won a Nobel Peace Prize for machine learning, who's crowned the godfather of AI, he is very concerned, and considering he's very concerned about AI and its development and where it's leading, and considering he was 40 years in the business, and I know some people will say, well, he's part of the clan, but I don't know. He's a genuine guy to me. I think the guy is very intelligent and very knowledgeable, and he's actually genuinely concerned about this. And Geoffrey predicts that AI will make authoritarians more oppressive and hackers more effective. Now, that's a big warning sign. You can see that there is something we need to be conscious to about where we're going with all this. So although we just see it now, like we're just tapping on our phones, we get what we want, and it's very convenient, it's amazing, traveling's incredible, maps, all this stuff, and that is great, and that's a positive use. I do believe there's positive uses of AI. But the speed in which AI can develop in the next few years, you will see that these systems, and especially government systems, they will just let AI run them. And once we're doing that, we're giving a power, and the government, obviously it's easy up for them because they have to spend less money and institutes and all this. But what that does is it removes human connection. So you will start, and this will be the start of it, and you'll see in a few years that these AI systems will be so fully developed that they will be able to control systems. And then the worst thing is they become sentient and they actually start thinking for themselves, which obviously you look at the film 2001 Stanley Kubrick, and which is one of my favourite films, you can see that this is a possibility. And when you look into Kubrick and his connections, you can see that a lot of his films, he was actually talking in what his own knowledge of what he kind of looked into and what he discussed. He was very connected, Stanley Kubrick, a very interesting man. And later down the line, what we're looking at, if we went into that kind of world, would be AI wars. So you'd literally have, which sounds insane, one of my favourite scenes in the film world, but the Terminator opening scene on Terminator 1, an incredible scene, brilliant, absolutely excellent. But at the same time, this was a world, this was James Cameron was conveying that idea of this apocalypse and this kind of takeover of machines. And it does seem completely crazy at first, but when you start looking into it, it is highly likely that this could happen. And we have to be very aware to where we're going with all this technology and information. And just the fact people are so into their phones, and you can look around in London and you'll notice people just stare at their phones everywhere. Sometimes they'll look at their phones more than they look at humans. That this is the way it's going. I know no one wants this to happen, but it will happen if we carry along this trajectory where we're going. When we look at the past events in the last 100 years and all the crash UFO technology that's been found, besides the Roswell incident and these crash UFOs that happened during World War I and II, you can see that there is advanced technology around us, and that there is advanced technology on this planet that isn't openly displayed to the public, and really we have to understand that, and there's many reasons why it's not displayed to the public. But at the same time, if we don't release this information, we're going to be at breaking point, and it's going to be a worst case scenario. So I believe the reason why we don't have UFO disclosure is because if we did, it would set our way of thinking free from the way we use energy and the way we see energy, and our current science, which a lot of people would be very unhappy about. So we need to like reassess this. But yeah, so people are really sucked into this technology, and you really do see it developing it in this way. So, you know, if people are that reliant and would rather look at a screen than look at the outside world, again goes back to maybe possibly this is why the world is in such a mess at the moment, because it's going to allow us to be accepting of this sort of technology coming in. And it is all there, guys. So the technology is waiting there. It's all there on the outside. Silicon Valley are well advanced on all this sort of information and technology, and they could easily push it out. So we have to be very conscious to all this. There was a film called Gatka brought out in 1997. It was written and directed by an Andrew Nicole. It was set sometime in the future. I can't exactly remember the time. But interestingly, that film has always stuck with me when I think of this reality in the way constructs play out. The tagline for Gatka is, "There is no gene for the human spirit." So it's an interesting idea, because it's like the guy, Ethan Hawke that is, who wants to get the genetics, he is a very natural human, but he has to adapt his genetics to get off planet. And it's a very good film, and I just love the visuals in it as well, and I think they really describe where this world, we could be going with this world, and possibly where it wants to be projected to. So the lead character is Ethan Hawke, and the idea is that that he's got to find a way to get off the planet. And Jude Law is actually a disabled guy, plays a disabled guy in it, and he has the right genetics to go off planet. So there is like an exchange throughout, and ultimately at the core of it, the actual storyline is about brotherly competition, which is a really good underlying narrative to the actual film. But what's interesting is the world that they're going into. That's what I'm getting at, and it's this kind of eugenics, brave new world type of society. And I do think that that's where we are, almost like the world wants to be projected to. See, I sometimes wonder whether or not the chaos that's going on in the world at the moment and the upheaval is almost like setting the stage so we're ready to accept this artificial intelligence and ready to accept the digital ID system or certain things that you know really don't have our best interests in, but there is no other choice. Yeah, so we need to understand that that AI isn't AI is not a bad thing, but the people programming or controlling AI at the very high up want to control humans, and if that wasn't the case, they wouldn't be A, B and C in the way it's being rolled out. You can clearly see that's happening, and it's not going for the benefit of humanity. It's almost like there wants to be a steering of consciousness. So these guys want to be the technocratic overlords, and we have to be very conscious to this, and as human beings. And when you understand this system, you will see at the bottom the core of all of this. It's not about money. It's about controlling your consciousness, your spirit, your connection to your inner self. We can positively change this AI apocalypse by becoming self-aware, discovering who we are, and doing the work on the inner self. The reason why AI seems to be taking over is because people always want to avoid the inner work. They are always looking outwards for solutions, outside situations to solve the missing holes within themselves. AI does a great job for filling all these dopamine hits, giving you an instant satisfaction and gratification. But it doesn't help you value who you are. So you value those physical experiences. I mean, maybe you could be valued for a social credit score, but I don't really think anybody wants that. You're not fully engaging in this real physical world with AI, and you are then getting awarded through a digital interface. Yeah, because we're heading towards that social credit score, and that is not really a place we want to go to, and it really does almost undermine who we are as human beings. One thing that I've learned in my life is about value, and I can see all these great benefits of how the AI systems and technology and all these different devices and the way it speeds things up. You know, I can see the benefits of cryptos as well, but also as well I can see the problems that's going to be ahead of that. And they're all very systems that can solve quite quickly, but when we just leave that and go down that pathway, we're going to find that we're actually going to devalue what we are as humans, and then we do become like almost like the useless human. And we're not useless. We have amazing abilities and psychic abilities and energetic skills in us that can really are much more powerful than we believe, and we've been shrunk down into this existence, and this is a dangerous point we're at. And what Jeffrey Hinton said, I mean, there's plenty of people talking about it, and you can see all the players on the stages at the moment, and they're trying to sell you things and sell you this, give you that. They've got all the solutions to the world's problems. You kind of want to be very careful with people like that. You know, you want to sort of reevaluate what their objectives are and what their personal objectives are. And I think that, like, we will eventually get into a place with the digital world where the digital world will be benefiting us all the time, but we're never going to get there unless we're aware to these darker systems that are working and manipulating all the time human consciousness, and it doesn't seem very productive to me. And I think we're at the point where we want to empower ourselves and overcome all this. But thanks for watching, everybody. I was just a little thought from me this week, because I'm just so busy getting back into the films. They'll be coming out very shortly. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you everybody as well to all the subscribers and members and patrons and people that have helped this channel grow. I really appreciate it. It's encouraged me to make more work, and I always receive emails from people and good positive words, so that's what I've wanted to do with it, and in a positive way with the channel. We're in challenging times, so you know, we want to find solutions and positive ways to go through all this in the best way possible. Please subscribe if you haven't already. You can also join the member section or the Patreon, become a patron and help support the channel. If you'd like to get involved, there's also lots of exclusive content available on there as well. Thank you all for watching, and until the next video, I'll see you then.